Yes, guys, welcome to FPL Insight. This is Chasing Green Arrows. I'm Gianni Buttice. I'm joined by Dean Jones as well. Hello, Dean. How you doing, mate?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm very good. You? Well, this is the crunch time, isn't it? Now we actually hand out advice that matters because it's tomorrow that people are following this.
Yeah, I'm very excited about today's show, especially we had a couple of hours ago some big announcements as well, didn't we?
Mm.
We now know that not only is this a big double game week, we obviously have the blank double game week in 27 next week, but we've also got some big juicy double game weeks in 28 and 29 as well. So much to discuss today, Dean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always nice when that drops, isn't it? And well, it's not always nice. Sometimes you panic a bit and you regret some of the decisions you've just made for this game week. And look, we'll talk about it further. But yeah, there's some big decisions to be made this week that will, I guess, impact on how we deal with those game weeks as well.
Yeah, I think so. Let's get straight onto our first feature. I think we're going to look at fresh off the press. Fresh off the press. Love the name of this feature. So those that are joining for the first time perhaps wouldn't have heard of this, but this is going to be kind of recent team news, and we'll always do this on a Friday, like who is flagged, why they flagged, and how long we think they might be out for, how that will impact our FPL decisions. So we've got 4 or 5 players we're going to run through, and we're going to start with Diogo Jota. He's the big one, isn't he, Dean? Like so many, he's like 40% owned. Do we keep or do we sell? What's your take?
I mean, so if you hadn't made your transfers before the decision was made, then I think you can sell. But for me, as we'll find out later, that wasn't the case. So if you've got him, like it's not, I don't think it's the end of the world if you're clinging on to Jota for now. But it was a big blow, I think. I spoke the other day about how Jota was giving us all a headache, and that this rotation at Liverpool was going to be the new Man City because, he was going to be the first choice for the Champions League, and obviously he did get the nod against Inter Milan. He wasn't himself at all in those 45 minutes that he played, and now we know why, because he had extremely swollen ankle, and now obviously we're waiting to see how bad that damage is. So it's a big one, but obviously we know what's going to happen because it means Firmino starts, and.
Yeah.
Look, there'll be plenty of people thinking, hang on, that's actually quite a nice little differential for me to have in this double game week. Firmino suddenly looks like a really good buy for people.
Yeah, he's looked a little bit more clinical this season as well, I think, Bobby Firmino. We saw his goal in the week. Like 2 home fixtures, he's very likely to start both of those, Norwich and Leeds. It doesn't really get better than that. So if you can stretch to him, he's about 8.7. And bear in mind, guys, Diogo Jota is very likely to miss both these games. And he could even miss, doesn't play in 27, could even miss that West Ham game in 28 as well.
Yeah.
So for me, you're probably selling, but just note that it might be difficult bringing him back. You might have like 500,000 tied up in him. There's loads of managers that paid 7.5 for him. He's now 8.5. But if you want him back, you find a way, don't you?
You do, yeah. But, this is why people like yourself, you plan weeks in advance, don't you? And you think you've nailed it. And then 2 days before a game week, something like this drops. And for so many people, it would have kind of ruined their planning of this weekend. And, we've got a lot of people now coming into the comments and trying to look at how they approach it. FPL River saying, got to sell Jota surely. And I'm sure that is the approach that most people will take if they've got the time to do that. But yeah, it's certainly a game changer to anyone that was planning for this week. But yeah, mate, one that I think is big as well, though, is Weghorst. This is somebody that you've been talking about building into this week. And I know you were a bit nervous about how this was going to pan out, but it looks like he's fit. It looks like you're going to be okay if you're sticking with him, that is.
Yeah, I was delighted to see Dyche's comments yesterday. Like, he's trained, he's very likely to start. My only concern is, like, once you've had a knock like that, you think, okay, if you're playing 1 game a week, you're probably going to be able to manage it. But Weghorst is about to go on a fixture run of 2 double game weeks on the trot, right? So he's going to have 4 games in the space of 2 weeks. Probably not used to that sort of schedule. Certainly not in this league. And I just hope he can stay fit for all 4 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just looking back at the comments there, and Nuclear Atom said he's just done his transfers because Salah is getting a price rise tonight. I mean, yep, fair point. Weghorst, look, this guy is going to score goals. I think that he's already fitted in quite quickly. I think that he's perfect for the Burnley system. And if they're saying he's fit, that he is worth sticking with, because this is a time in which Burnley have to start winning games. They don't really have that many sources of goals. If they score, it's probably going to be him. And look, they'll only win games probably by 1 goal. but the chances are that he's that man. And if that's the case, not only is he going to get the points for the goal, he'll get the bonus points as well. So you'll be getting your extra 3 because he'll be deciding the game. So I think he's somebody that a lot of people will be relieved about. I'm not sure how. I didn't check the percentage owned. I don't know if you know it off the top of your head.
It's about 51, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, because a lot of So we'll see. We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, we've got in the chat, Desire Ramadani's asked about our thoughts on Luis Diaz. Now, Desire, we will get to you on that in the next 20 minutes or so, because we've got a really cool feature called Against the Obvious, and Luis Diaz comes into the conversation when we're on that. So do stay tuned for that feature. Let's move on to some other ones. I mean, United attack, and guys, let us know in the chat. Do you think Ronaldo is going to start yet again, knowing, yes, sure, Cavani is likely to be out, but with that Atletico Madrid tie in mind, does Ronaldo get a rest, and could we see a surprise like a Rashford up top? I'm not so sure. I think Ronaldo probably starts. What do you reckon, Dean?
I think he will start. Yeah, I have to admit. I mean, he didn't take it very well last time. He didn't start, did he? And I'm not sure it's worth rocking the boat at this stage for Rangnick. He's got enough problems to deal with right now. He doesn't need Ronaldo on his case as well. So look, there's a lot of people in this squad right now with so much to prove. I just think that you play Ronaldo, especially if he's an angry Ronaldo. Like he scored the other day. You could see when that ball hit the net what it meant to him to prove to people that he could still score goals. Like, I'm not sure we completely didn't believe he could still score goals, but then he's done it. And he might just go on a run from here. You never know. So look, I'm 85% convinced, to be honest, that Ronaldo starts for Man United.
Yeah, if Cavani we knew he was 100% fit, then I'd doubt it. But we know, I think it's been said, he's very unlikely not to play, even though he is back training. What about Everton, Dean? Because they did so well last week at Newcastle. It's like flag central when you go on the FPL site and see the Everton page. They got all sorts of defensive injuries as well. But still, Lampard seems to be getting some rhythm there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think that look, for me, one guy that I've been waiting on, like Damari Gray, was somebody that was in my team a lot, and I thought it was a good guy to have in your squad, but there's still uncertainty around him as well. So Iwobi came in, didn't he, for the last game? And I thought Alex Iwobi actually looked quite dangerous. Like some of the balls that he put in, some of the little pockets of space he picked up, I thought were really interesting. Now, not many people are picking Alex Iwobi at the moment, but if it's a late one and you're just thinking, who can I pick that's a bit different? He might be an interesting one, I think. Ultimately, my personal stance on Everton is I would be getting their players in for home matches and I'll be having them on the bench for away matches. I've just got a feeling that is how Lampard's tenure plays out this season. I think that we've already, from what we've seen so far, basically, they are going to be very solid, get those points they need at home. They have the crowd behind them. I just think that away from home, they might be a bit more flaky.
Yeah, I can see that. And the Goodison crowd, we can't underestimate that. When that's on song, it's really good. Guys in the chat, there's quite a few of you watching. There's over 30 watching. Only 8 of you have liked the channel. So here's a deal breaker. If you like the intro sequence to the next feature, if you like this 10-second clip, give us a like, right? So coming up, we've got Pep Roulette. Surely we're getting some likes. Surely we're getting some likes off that.
Awesome it was certainly a good try from you. I like that a lot.
So Pep Roulette, I mean, this is an awesome feature because obviously we always talk about Pep Roulette and City rotation, but we're going to use this each week to look at some of the big teams, the ones that are hardest to predict, the ones that we care most about, quite frankly. So Dean, who's up first?
We go Man City, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we go Man City.
I think so. Look, I think that when we talk about Man City anyway, it's the team that we all scared of, I guess, the most each week. And there are times in my squad when I've got 3 Man City players in there. And there are also times when I've got none because I just have no idea what's going to happen. And I'm too scared to put such valuable assets in there and that they don't play.
Yeah.
Now, this week is a really tough one because we've obviously had the break, which typically is a tough time to judge Guardiola anyway, because he does like his players to have had time to build up game time. They've had a Champions League game. But what they've had is 2 pretty straightforward games in their last 2 fixtures.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure the rotation matters too much. And they've got actually a really tricky fixture, potentially. They're going to have to work very hard for it. And I don't actually think Man City are going to make that many changes from the team that won in Lisbon in midweek. So personally, I think that Kyle Walker comes in. I mean, that's a bit of a no-brainer at right back. I'm not seeing that many more changes further forward. I think Bernardo Silva will start again. And I think that some people will wonder about the midfield, wonder how that changes. Up front, you're thinking, can they really go with Mahrez, Foden and Sterling again? I think yes, because they have to win this game to make sure that they keep their heads above Liverpool in this title race. And look, I know it's so hard to say this, but I've just got a feeling that Pep doesn't actually rotate that much this week.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. And you look at the week before going into the Champions League, well, fair. He rotated and benched KDB. Cancelo missed out, Laporte too. But you're looking at it and think they've not got a midweek game next week. So they're relatively fresh. And he was also had the luxury of like coasting in that game in Lisbon. And he was able to bring the likes of Foden off on the hour mark. John Stones came off on the hour mark. Laporte and Bernardo Silva also came off. So yeah, I like the look of that City 11. I think you're going to nail at least if you nail 10 out of 11 with City, you've done well. And I'm confident you get 10 there.
Yeah, I think, earlier on in the day when we were briefly chatting about this, there was the debate about what about Gundogan? He often does play against Tottenham. I just think well, where do you fit him in? Maybe KDB isn't as much of a dead cert as he has been in previous seasons. And he certainly hasn't been in the same form throughout the season as in the past. So maybe there. Bernardo Silva plays every single game now under Pep Guardiola. He's like the first name on the team sheet and just seems to play 90. And I think at the back, as you say, he played most of that game against Sporting, was brilliant. But I don't think he exerted himself to the point where he wouldn't be able to play in this fixture. And last time around when they played PSG, he still played the next game, Bernardo. So I'm pretty confident that he still plays. Look, we'll get an idea of it on the back of this, how Pep is going to play it and how we can judge future Champions League weeks. But for this one in particular, I'm just going to say, yeah, he kind of sticks to what he's got.
Yeah, Carefree Youth is asked a question about Cancelo, and he's on my radar as someone that do I bench, do I not? And Cancelo is such a dangerous player to bench. Like one, we know he's going to start, but most defenders don't have that high ceiling of 20 points. Like you think of a defender's ceiling is usually 9-10 points. Cancelo's ceiling is 20. He can get 2 assists and a goal, and you wouldn't be that surprised against any opposition at the Etihad. So I'd play Cancelo. Yeah,
I mean, I've seen a few people talking about the fact that Cancelo might be a victim of Pep Roulette here. I don't see that you could do that to Cancelo in a game like this. Like he has been so influential this season. This is potentially a game. Like it should be a close game. It might not be. City have the potential to absolutely blow Tottenham out the water. They look so frail defensively. I think they could absolutely pull that back line apart. Phil Foden is up there. Him and Firmino are the best 2 false nines in the game for me at the moment. Foden's been absolutely brilliant at playing there. And I think that with him dropping short, if Bernardo's going in behind, if you've got Raheem and Mahrez around him, it causes all sorts of problems.
Yeah, Nuclear says, would you play Cancelo over Dennis? We'll move on quickly on this. I think you do. I know Dennis has the double. Sometimes we're blinkered by that, but Watford haven't looked like scoring, and I just think Cancelo's 90 beats Dennis's 180. And I usually always go to the double game weeker, but I wouldn't on this one.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What about moving on with... So we're going to do Liverpool and Arsenal next. We're going to do Liverpool first because we don't have Jota. So there's a question there who comes in. And also we saw some big names benched against Inter, like Hendo was on the bench, but we've seen quite a lot of movement. We saw Konate start in the week. What do you reckon for Liverpool?
Okay, so my Liverpool lineup that I've gone with is Alisson in goal. Back 4, I've gone Trent, Matip, Van Dijk and Robertson. So there you'd have obviously Matip coming in for Konaté. And then Henderson, Fabinho and Keita. So yeah, 2 changes there. And then Salah, Firmino obviously comes in for Jota. And then I'm sticking with Mane. But there is a small chance I can see Luis Diaz coming in here. Like, I can see it happening very soon that he gets involved in this rotation. And it's a good game for that to happen if it's going to, because he's made such a telling impact when he comes in. He's so sharp. He seems to be in the rhythm of this Liverpool team so quickly that is a possibility. But Yeah, I'm quite confident on this one. Kenyatte, I actually think it would be quite harsh on him if he doesn't start, because I think he was brilliant in midweek. But look, Matip normally is picked for games like this, so I'm just going with what we've seen in the past. And Henderson, I think, just is an obvious one to come back in. And Henderson, Fabinho, and Keita. What are you thinking of that, mate?
Yeah, I agree with you. Do think Mane gets it, but I do think Luis Diaz will be playing a lot of Premier League minutes very soon.
Yeah.
And you've watched him way more than most of us. We know he's an absolute baller. What I would say about that double game week that Liverpool have is, don't forget they've got an EFL Cup tie coming up, right? So will many players be rotated against Leeds is the question. I don't think so, because Klopp really respects Leeds. But I just wonder, Robbo, left back,
Yeah.
there is Simicast who can come in and do a very good job against Norwich or Leeds. Now, they don't necessarily have backup right back. Like Nico Williams he's gone to your club, Fulham, Dean.
Gone to Fulham, mate. He's doing very well as well, yeah.
Is he? So there's no backup right back, but there is a backup left back. Yeah, sure, Milner can play there, but I don't think he will do that in the Premier League. So I just look at Robertson and think he probably misses one of the two games, but I don't know which one. And the others, Van Dijk, your Trent, Salah's going to play both. There's been a lot of chat in the community saying, will Salah miss a game? I can't see it. I just can't.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this Simicast and Robertson debate quite a bit, but I'm not convinced by it, because like Liverpool have to win this game. So why not just get it won? If they're going to make that change, you can make it at a later stage. If they're worried about minutes in Robertson's legs, then take him off once this game is won. I just think that you want to get it done as early as possible. Get into a 2 or 3 goal lead, and then make your changes that you need, and take your foot off the pedal. They cannot afford to let any point slip. So I would be amazed if they do actually start looking at areas just to keep people back, because it's too dangerous at this point.
Yeah, they've really got to keep momentum. Desire mentions Gomez at right back. Good point, although he does seem to be a bit like the forgotten man at Anfield.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's really in the thoughts, is he? I mean, obviously he is there, but he says Diaz both games as well. I don't see Diaz playing in both games. I think one is a decent shout. But also, I think you want to get this rhythm going again with this front three, and you want them to get those games and that consistency back and get back in their groove. And they're only going to do that by playing each other more and more. And that's why I think it will be very tempting to still go with the typical front three.
Yeah, I think so. And I guess Keita's the only one that we may be not overly confident about. I don't know, Dean, is that a fair comment on Keita?
Yeah, I think that's probably the one that people will wonder about. It doesn't really matter to most of us who play FPL, because it's not a position that anyone's going to really be that fussed about. You're not really picking him, are you?
Yeah, good point. Let's move on that note to
there's one actually, mate.
Mohammed
says Trent captain over Salah, and I've seen a couple of people mentioning that, and I think it's something we'll come to later on, I think, in the show, that one, Mohammed, because there's a point I want to raise on that. So it is a good point.
Like it. Stay tuned for Against the Obvious on that. So let's move on to Arsenal. Perhaps even the easiest of the 11s to predict is Arsenal. What have you got for us, Dean?
You say that. I've probably got about 3 of these wrong, mate. So I've gone Ramsdale. I've gone with Cedric at right back, because I'm not convinced that it's not going to be the case, to be honest. I know we're hearing other fitness news, but yeah, I think Cedric's still going to play. White, Gabriel and Tierney, Xhaka, Partey, Odegaard, and then Saka, Lacazette, and I think Smith Rowe comes back in. Obviously, Martinelli suspended for this first game for Arsenal. And Smith Rowe will be desperate to make the most of an opportunity, and I think that he's a good guy to have in your team, actually, potentially for this week. I can't be sure he plays both games, but if he plays well in the first one, he probably will.
Yeah, if he plays really well in the first, you could see maybe Odegaard going into that midfield 2, or Smith Rowe playing Odegaard's role as the 10. And maybe, because we know Martinelli is very likely to come in, but Smith Rowe could keep a place for sure. And yeah, FPL River's gutted about Martinelli's red. Of course you are. That's a hard one to know if you're going to sell him or not. Are you holding him, Dean, because he's so good and because he's got good fixtures?
Yeah, exactly, because he's got good fixtures, and I think that he'll want to prove a point when he comes back. I've got him. I've kept him for now because I think he's one of their best players, and there's not many places that goals are coming from this team. And once he gets a sight a goal and gets a sniff of consistency, he seems to deliver. I really like him, and I think it was so disappointing, the manner of that red card, that he will have a point to prove, and I think he'll repay us by sticking with him. I hope so.
Yeah, I think he might. He's actually on my radar of someone I'm looking to buy in the next couple of weeks. And I'll tell you why. Arsenal, we know about the double this week, which is nice. Brentford and Wolves, right? We know they blank in 27, but a couple of hours ago, we've seen that they also double in 29, which is Leicester and Liverpool. They also have the added benefit of playing in that blank in 30. And there is a good chance that game week 28, the Chelsea fixture will be added to that. It's not been added yet. Nothing is confirmed, but they could also double in 28. So we could see 3 Arsenal double game weeks in 4 weeks. And I think we do. That Chelsea game, the obvious place to put it. So that would be a double of Watford-Chelsea. 3 doubles in 4 weeks. Definitely be attacking Arsenal players and don't be selling the likes of Martinelli, guys.
Yeah, that's a good point. Really, yeah, you got to stack up ahead of that because this is why shows like this become interesting because you can study it all you like yourself, and then you hear one little thing like that and it changes your thinking. You are just swerving people's opinions here, mate. Their minds are all over the place.
Savio says Mane starts both. He'll get subbed at 60-70, and I do think with Mane we'll see him sharing minutes a lot with Luis Diaz, although of course the favourite to start most games. So one to keep an eye on there. Like if Luis Diaz comes in, Dean, is he gonna take to the Premier League? Because what we've seen so far, he's looked very, very good. Definitely one to be on our watch lists.
He's on a watch list. Yeah, I wouldn't put him in. There's absolutely no way. Like there's too many other people that I think you could have more confidence in than him in terms of delivering points. I think he's going to fit into the team brilliantly, but as terms of an FPL asset, I don't know yet. I don't know if he's scoring goals, and he might get an assist, but ultimately, like one assist isn't really going to be changing your campaign, is it? You want guys that are going to start weighing in with goals. I'm not sure how quickly he'll be doing that, so we'll have to see. He's definitely worth keeping an eye on, and long term, he adds a very intriguing option to this front line.
Yeah, I think so. Before we move on, Savio de Souza, hello in the chat. Savio asks, with the Wolves double, doesn't Sarr seem a better pick than Ramsdale? Now, Ramsdale, we've just said, could have 3 doubles in 4 weeks. But also, Jose Sarr has been brilliant for save points, and we know he's got a fair few doubles as well. I think they're both around 5.2 million. Who would you go for there, Dean?
It is a tough one. I'm just looking at it now, like you say, further down the line. I mean, he's got Leicester and Arsenal. I think I'd still go Ramsdale, to be honest. I think I'd stick with Ramsdale because his fixtures aren't that, he's got Brentford at home, and then he's got Wolves. And then, as you say, even with a blank, it doesn't matter. They've got so much coming. I'm sticking with Ramsdale there. I think long term, you're getting far more out of him. And look, the one thing I would argue is that Sarr's got such a good clean sheet record that, like, I think I prefer him as a goalkeeper. I was like, which goalie would you want in a real team? I'd probably take Sarr, but like for right now, no, I'm sticking Ramsdale.
It's your Portuguese bias, though, Dean. I'm with you. I'd go Ramsdale, and then I'd still get some Wolves defence at 4.5 million and save some money.
Yeah, that's probably better, actually. Good idea.
Yeah, we got Nakib says, what about Bowen off you're on a wild card? I'd still keep him, Nakib. Bowen's just been so good of late. I know he's only got single game weeks, but hold him.
Yeah, I mean, and something I've heard around West Ham as well is that Mikel Antonio obviously not firing at the moment, not for the lack of trying, but the guy's being run into the ground at the moment, and I think that he hasn't scored, I think, since the 1st of Jan, and he probably needs a break just to take some time out. It's not impossible that at some point soon, Jarrod Bowen is leading the line for West Ham. Yeah. Like he is seen as soon as they didn't sign a striker in the January window, David Moyes had a meeting and it was like, okay, I accept it. Like Bowen is now my backup striker. Like if I need to put someone else in there, it's going to be Jarrod Bowen. And you know what? I would be very tempted to do that if I was him right now. I know that like Bowen is very good in the position he normally plays, but I still think he would deliver in the centrally as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I can't wait to see his rise at West Ham and if he even stays at West Ham beyond this season. Yeah. Guys, I hope you're liking the channel. I know loads of you already have. Thank you. If you don't already subscribe, we've had a few in the chat say they've just stumbled across and they are subscribing now. Do hit that subscribe button. We do these every Monday where we review the game week just gone. And then every Friday, both times 7 p.m. UK time. And the Friday show is obviously always going to be a preview of what are very exciting game weeks ahead. This is another new feature we've got coming up. So already we've had Fresh Off the Press. We've had Pep Roulette. How about this one? It's against the obvious. If you've seen the graphics, you'll know what we're doing with this feature, right? You've seen some template players there. You've seen the big X. Well, the X is there because this each week will be the feature where we look at some of the template players and we give you reasons why to not pick them. So first up, Dean, I think we're going to look at Mo Salah, are we?
We are going to look at Mo Salah, and most people will have Salah as their captain, right? Of course they will. If you haven't got him and you're panicking, like, how do you get him in? Are you taking like a -8 to somehow get Salah into your team? There are a few reasons why you shouldn't be panicking, and, you know, try and get through this week without him. Now, one reason is that, look, he's not in red hot form right now, Mo Salah. This isn't the Mo Salah that's bagging regularly 2 or 3 goals and getting an assist. Looking through his stats at the moment, like, he's not even scoring 2 goals at the moment in the Premier League. It's been a while. And obviously, on the back of AFCON, it's taken him a little while as well to get back in the groove of being at Liverpool. It's been extremely tiring for him the past couple of months. He's obviously still going to step forward and score important goals. But is he going to score more than, okay, I'll say 2 a game, right? In this game week, I don't think Mo Salah will probably score more than 2 in one game and 1 in the other. Yeah. That's my prediction on that. So he's going to say he gets 3 goals and say he gets an assist. You can make that up, right? You can make up that kind of ground by peaking cleverly from elsewhere. There's also an argument, I think, that if you haven't got Salah, but you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, that Trent is a great captain option for this game week. Potentially, I've seen some people talking about even taking him as a triple captain. Now, that's very brave, but look, there's potential there for sure. There's also now this argument of, okay, so everyone's taking Salah right now. Okay, so almost everyone, you know, will have Salah, captain, triple captain, whatever. Now Liverpool just had a new double game week added, right? So what if by the time we get to that next double game week, and I think it's game week 29, isn't it, that Liverpool play Brighton and Arsenal? Yeah. What if Salah's in better form at that point? What if Brighton are in terrible form? What if Arsenal? Well, Salah will score against Arsenal. I'm confident that Salah will score against Arsenal. It might not matter. If you're missing him right now, save up and make sure that you've got him further down the line. So, look, don't sweat. Mo Salah isn't the end of the world if you haven't got him right now, even if it feels like it.
Love that. Well played. That's a tough one to do. And there's so many watching going, of course I've got Salah, but if you haven't, there's good reason there. So I'm going to have a go at looking at another popular pick this week, and that is Rafinha, right? Loads are going towards him because Leeds have got the double, but just bear in mind that double is Man United and Liverpool. Very, very tough. Then he goes on a fixture run of Spurs and he doubles later against Leicester, Aston Villa in game week 28. But what I was so shocked to see was him hooked at half-time last time out, and Leeds were dreadful. Their expected goals in the game was something like 0.19. You just don't see it that low with Leeds. Without Bamford in the team, they're a completely different unit, and Jesus, has that guy been missed? So I look at Rafinha and think, now is not the time to be jumping on. Like, I wonder if there's some stuff been going on behind the scenes there with Bielsa, because when he was hooked at 45, we just assumed he was injured. Bielsa came out and said it was tactical. Like, because of to fit like Tyler Roberts into the system better. It's like really like 2 very different types of player there. So I look at it and think Rafinha, with the contract negotiation around, he's been linked with big clubs. I just think maybe there's toys have come out of the pram, and I don't think he's flavour of the month at the moment. What do you reckon, Dean?
Yeah, I think of any time in the season that you might have been tempted to take Rafinha, now's not that time. Like, if you haven't got him, don't worry about it. If you're tempted to get rid of someone who's a pretty big hitter to make space for somebody else, go for it. I don't think this is that much of a gamble. I don't think Rafinha is going to be giving you that many points at the moment, and I don't even think he's guaranteed to play all the minutes that he normally would do, like you say. Yeah, he might have had his head turned a little bit here. I think he knows that there's a big move on the horizon. I know for a fact that there are some big clubs after him. Obviously, West Ham tried their luck. I'm not saying they're one of the big clubs, obviously.
Bayern Munich, we'll go Bayern.
Yeah, let's go Bayern Munich. But well, you know, when you've had that kind of, I don't know, the headlines around you, you've had a £50 million bid, you're trying to get a big new contract, and the manager's like, not sure that your head's in the right space here. Yeah, I don't think it's a good time to be signing somebody.
Yeah, the last 5 games, I'm looking on the FPL website. In the last 5 games, Leeds have played Burnley, West Ham, Newcastle, Villa, Everton. 5 really nice fixtures. You expect a couple of goal involvements there for their best player. Well, Rafinha's got 1 assist and no goals in those 5 games. He's really not on form at the moment, despite every time he goes to South America and plays for Brazil, we see all the YouTube clips of his worldies, don't we?
We do,
So, yeah, definitely one to swerve. If you're looking at a midfielder in that price band, you go Saka all day long for me. Arsenal's double is brilliant. Saka, for me, is still the main man at Arsenal, very much the main man. I look at Arsenal over Leeds.
Yeah. I think I've changed someone's mind, by the way, mate. I just saw someone saying that I've lost it now, but someone said they were going to sell Salah. So, my job is done. FPL Harry, I might sell Salah now. There you go. Look, I'm changing minds based on that. Be a bit careful, Harry. I don't want to ruin your life here.
Harry is a very astute manager. I look forward to seeing that on his Twitter timeline. He makes a good point as well about Dan James is obviously playing striker, and that just doesn't give Rafinha much to move on. So let's have a look now at our actual teams. I'm looking forward to seeing our team reveals. Is that Pep and Jose? I think it is, Dean.
I think it is, mate. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure I would be putting my head on shoulders like that, but here we go. Let's have a look at the teams that we've got. And well, I made a big decision. The lineup that you see right now has Jota in it. I mean, obviously he's not going to be in my starting 11. It'll be Martinelli that just drops in there. And even though he hasn't got a game the first week, he'll play against Wolves. So I'm not too worried about that, to be honest. But I did make an interesting call this week, mate, because when Bruno scored his goal, I wasn't expecting anything from him, basically. And when he did, I only had 1 transfer. And I was like, I need to move some things around here. Like, my team is not strong enough going forward. And I decided to invest the extra points he got into transfers, which I don't do very often. Like, I think it might be the second time this season I've done it. But I just needed to adjust my side. And now I'm a lot happier with it. I mean, I had to get Salah in there. I just feel a lot more confident now. Obviously, the Jota news was bad luck for me because I did this actually before the announcement came, and I was confident that he actually would be okay. But I've bought in Kilman after bigging him up on our last show. Couldn't resist. He's such good value, and I'm confident that even it's a long-term purchase. He's staying in my team basically for the rest of the season. There's no need for him to go anywhere.
I've got a double in 28 as well, Dean. Now. That's nice for you.
Oh, mate, happy days. That is a great result, yeah. And Salah, as you can see, has currently got the captain's armband. Will I make it the triple captain? I mean, I've just been selling everyone on why they don't need Salah. I mean, I've brought him in.
What do you reckon in goal, Dean? Foster De Gea? Hard one, because it's the double game week versus the single game week.
I know, yeah. I haven't properly weighed this one up yet. De Gea, I love because either if United aren't keeping clean sheets, it doesn't matter too much because he's making worldy saves every 5 minutes because of the flaky defence. And he's still managing to pull out points. But Foster is definitely an interesting one I've got to consider. I don't think he'll keep a clean sheet against Aston Villa. It's my concern. I think Crystal Palace he might, though. So he might actually end up getting more points than De Gea there. So it's a decision I'm going to make tonight. But yeah, I'm tempted to put De Gea on the bench for sure.
Yeah, I think if it was a United, let's say it's Dalot versus Femenia, and it's a fullback for a fullback, I'd probably go Dalot because I think the ceiling's quite low for Watford defence. But with goalkeepers, because you clock up those save points, and you've got, with 2 games, you've got more save points, but also double the chance of being able to do something like save a penalty where you just get absolutely huge points. I just wonder if that, for a goalkeeper, you go with a double game week, even though you can't necessarily see a clean sheet in either. Or maybe you can against Palace. Maybe you're right.
No, you're right. Yeah, and look, it's De Gea, because you've got a name like that. It's always hard to take them out of your team and put them on the bench. And there's a chance, obviously, United keep a clean sheet against Leeds. I can easily see that game ended up 0-0. But yeah, a double game with the goalkeeper like that, I'll probably be tempted to change that.
Yeah, I like it. And, Martinelli might be quite nice. That second fixture, who knows? He'll come in for Jota for you, but there's no reason why he can't score big in any given game.
Absolutely, yeah. Just to point out, Luke said that's no Man City midfielders against a terrible Spurs defence. I haven't got any Man City players in here because it's not because of this particular game week. It's the ones coming up. I'm just so unsure what's going to be happening. And I don't know who I would bring in that I'd be sure is going to be playing that's good value as well. Like, because I've got a couple of punchy players in that midfield already that are costing me a lot. Like, the obvious thing will be to take Jota out next and possibly bring in a Man City midfielder. But yeah, for this week, I've just left it.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Good stuff. I think you're going to have a decent week, mate. And triple captaincy, you'll be hitting that chip?
I think I will be, mate. Yeah, I think it's too good to resist. I mean, it's not very often that you get a player like Salah with 2 home matches, and if it is almost irresistible. And I tried to almost convince myself in that last segment that you can live without Salah, and I do think that you can. But at the same time, if you can afford to bring him in, you just do it, don't you? It's just kind of natural. If you played this game long enough, you're just too scared to take that gamble. I did it enough times with Aguero in the past, and that would cost me. And Salah, I've done it too many times too, and it's cost me. So yeah, I'm just worried about that. Someone's asked me whatever made me get Patterson. I got Patterson after they signed him. Because he's genuinely a really good player, and I thought he was going to fit in really well. And then like they had all the upheaval and changed managers and all the rest of it, and yeah, Lampard clearly doesn't like him, so I'm a bit concerned about that because his price is dropping, and I do actually need to get him out. He's just rotting on the bench there.
Yeah, fair one. Okay, let's move on and have a quick look at my team. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes on this team, guys, but then we've got a little surprise coming up for you. We're going to be showing you some very cool graphics. If you're just tuning in and you haven't seen some of our intro sequences, we want your opinions on it. So stay tuned. 5 minutes remaining on today's show. This is my team. I've got a fair few doublers. I've got a benching dilemma, a massive benching dilemma at the moment. Let's just look at that bench. I've got double game week of Foster on the bench. I've got Jota, who I'm going to sell for Saka, who won't come onto my bench, but that will probably put Elise on my bench with a double game week. I've got Luca Dean at home to Watford and due some big points. And then I've got Dallo against Leeds. If I could use 2 chips at the same time, I'd be activating bench boost and triple captain all day long. I'd be very happy with those 2 on 1 week, but I just can't. And am I making the right call going triple captain here, Dean?
You are, yeah, because Jota's made up your mind, hasn't he? Like I think that's what it is. It's such a good squad, and I love what you've done. I mean, my biggest concern for you is Harry Kane finally turning up like that. That is a worry. You think back to this fixture, Man City v Tottenham at the start of the season. It was all about Harry Kane, even though he wasn't even playing, wasn't it? And Tottenham actually beat Man City last time, 1-0. I mean, we've come a long way since then. I think Man City have scored something like 93 goals since then without a number 9. And Harry Kane scored, what, 5? Yeah. 5 goals or something this season?
So bad.
It's so bad. But the thing is, you do stick with a player like that because you think this can't possibly carry on, right? And there's a narrative there as well. Like, if Kane against Man City, the team you're supposed to join in the summer, like there's extra layers to having a player like that in your team. And if not, anyway, it doesn't matter because you got 3 forwards anyway in your midfield, so it doesn't really matter. You've literally filled in 6 centre forwards here.
That is always my game plan. I love that out of position. I've just put in the chat. I'm probably going to sell Jota to Saka with my other free transfer. So then I don't have Jota on the bench. That puts Elise there. It gives me Foden. So I'm going to name 3, 4, 5, 6 players. 3 of them have to be benched. So Foden, Cancelo, Dina, Bowen, Elise, and Broja. From those 6 names, all with nice fixtures. Oh, and Dallo. From those 7 names, 3 of them have to be benched. So let me know in the chat. Give me 3 names in the chat, and Dean, I'm going to come to you for 3 names to be on the bench.
Yeah, you've complicated that. I forgot you were going to be ditching Jota to bring in Saka. That makes this so much harder. I don't know what you do, mate. I think Weghorst.
Even with the double. I think
what if it's all a ploy and he doesn't actually play?
Yeah, I know. And it's not like Burnley score many. I think Dallo's the easiest one. I can definitely.
Dallo's 100% on the bench. Yeah.
Would you reckon Elise because he'll probably only start 1 game and he could not start either? Like, I use a bit of a favourite. It's a tough one. Luke saying Dina, Dallo, Elise. Mohammed saying Elise, Dina, Dallo. Dallo and Dina and Elise, all 3 there. They're in agreement. Maybe they are the 3. You've got to play Broja, haven't you? You've
got to play Broja. I mean, I think the way you have to view it is like best case scenario. What are these players going to score? Like in your dream scenario, what is each of these players what are they going to do? And ultimately, like, look at him best case, might score a goal, but he's probably going to get an assist at best. Dalot, well, who knows what he's going to do? Maybe an assist. And Elise, in a dream world for him, he would score. He'd play and score in both those matches, but it's not going to happen, is it? Like, all those things aren't going to happen. Whereas the other guys that you've got in there in one game could easily score 2 goals, which gets them way more points than these guys. So I think that makes up your mind.
Yeah, that's why the City lads are it's too dangerous to think about benching them. That ceiling, as you say,
you just can't.
It's too high.
Too
Okay,
high.
I can't wait for Monday's show when I come on and tell you I got 30 bench points. I'm going to be delighted with that.
You can blame these guys for telling you what to do.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like the chat are pretty keen on the Dalot, Elise, and Dean, like those 3. Oh, they're Nuclear saying Vegas, like maybe you did, Dean. So yeah, we'll tune in for Monday, and I'll let you know on that one.
You got the headache tonight.
Yeah, I have. I'll be up till midnight thinking about that. What's really sad is I won't actually even sleep tonight because I'll be still like playing with it tomorrow morning. Ridiculous. My wife will be like, "Get a life, come on."
She probably will be.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at our intro sequences that we've had so far today. So, guys, we want your opinion on this. We're going to show you 1, 2, 3, 4 little sequences, and we want to know your favorite. But let us know your thoughts on all of them. So, firstly, we'll have a look at the one we came to first, which was fresh off the press. What do you reckon? Fresh off the press. Guys, let us know. Do you like it in the chat? Let us know. While you're doing that, we will play the second one, which, this was a great one. This got us loads of likes. Pep Roulette. Let's have a look. How to win at Pep Roulette. I think I want to screen grab that for my Twitter timeline.
Yeah, mate. People have been wondering that question for so many years, and now we've finally got an image to go alongside it. It's got to be a winner, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And do you know what? I reckon this got legs to go for another 10, 15 years, this feature. Like, Pep doesn't have to be in the league, and we will still refer to it.
That's true. We'll still refer to it as Pep Roulette even after he's gone. That is a good point.
Exactly that. Okay, next up we had, of course, Against the Obvious. Good selection there. Good selection of players. All those heavily sort of 40, 50%ers.
Yeah. People do actually play the game. Some people set out to play the game like that. They're like, I'm going to avoid all the obvious picks and try and be really, really smart. And fair play to those people. That is not easy. If you are avoiding the obvious, well done.
Yeah, exactly. Fair play. We've got good comments coming in. Mohammed likes it twice. Pep Roulette is FPL Rivers' favourite. Big thumbs up. Pep Roulette Nuclear loves. Against the Obvious is great. Let's have our last and final one, and then we'll get your thoughts on the favourite ones. So, team reveal and strategies. Oh, it's a good one.
Is it? I'm not sure. Every time I look at my face, I'm less and less sure that it's a good one.
Where did they get that image from?
I don't know. I don't know. I reckon they're going through my timeline here and back to when I was at Bleacher Report or something, and I was made to do all these silly things. So it's got to be something like that. I don't know. I'm sent on some weird gigs where I'm made to make some funny faces and do some weird poses. So I don't even remember half of it.
Dean looking like Lampard against Klopp. I like that. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Do you think did Lampard get the Everton job just because he was so confrontational to Jurgen Klopp a few months before?
Just because they want to properly kick off when they come up against each other. Hope so.
Nuclear says the team selection graphics look way too comical. You look like children. Lol. That's what we want, Nuclear. We want interaction. So yes. Maybe it's a good thing.
It's all fun.
I don't know if we've got any more from Monday's show to play. I think that might be it. But if we have, now is the opportunity to see it. And we...
It's your little segment, mate.
Yeah, love that. And I look forward to the eye test report where, of course, we look back at the weekend fixtures and go, okay, this is my eye test report from watching all the games over the weekend. Who have I got my eye on? Who's on my watch list? Guys, thank you so much for watching. I think that draws us to a conclusion tonight. It's going to be some game week. We hope you go well. But before you do go, many of you have engaged in the comments, and thank you for doing that in the chat. But if you could also write a comment, just feedback on the show, things you want to see, that'd be really appreciated. And of course, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Dean, any last notes from you?
Well, I'm a bit terrified about those lineups I picked earlier on, so I'm a bit nervous. I'm going to, as soon as they're out, I'm going to be checking my apps to see how well I've fared. I'm obviously still scared of Pep Roulette, even though I think he's not going to make many changes. And yeah, it's this triple captain for me. Like, please deliver, Salah. Yeah. Please deliver.
Do it for all of us, guys. Do it for me, do it for Dean, and do it for all of you in the chat, because I just know you're very likely triple captain in Mo. See you later, guys.